In our Sunrise Smart Start, yesterday the funeral for fallen Rochester police officer Anthony Mizerkowicz. A grand procession took off from the public safety building and went to an emotional 3-hour ceremony at the Blue Cross Arena.
Followed by another procession to the private graveside service at Whitehaven Memorial Park. News 8 covered the events throughout the day, and Christian Garzone has more.
Police Chief David Smith said in Mizerkowicz's 29 years of service, he changed an incalculable amount of lives.
Some of those lives were certainly changed for the better. And some of those people certainly went on to help other people.
Police Union President Mike Mazzio said Mizerkowicz was a hero who would never admit he was a hero.
If you were to yell, "Hey, hero," into a crowd, he would be the last to turn around.
Retired Officer Dennis Cole was a longtime friend of Mizerkowicz. He challenged elected officials and the community to do more to end the gun violence epidemic. He held up copies of the Holy Bible and the state penal law.
Please at least read one of them, because I'm getting tired of coming here and doing this.
Don Lucas of the Blue Knights worked the night shift with Mizerkowicz. He says he'll always feel the pain of losing a brother.
It never gets easy. You know, losing somebody who you're close to, be it family or whatever, it's never easy.
Little Maxon's father is a police officer. He said his dad and the sacrifice of Mizerkowicz have inspired him. The question of what he wants to do when he grows up isn't a debate.
A policeman is the first thing I want to do.
Chief Smith saying no doubt Mizerkowicz was taken from us too early.
But I am 100% certain that God had more work waiting for him when he called him home.
Christian, thank you. Officer Mizerkowicz leaves behind his parents, wife, 4 children, and 3 grandchildren.
Natalie Kutchko shares with us the heartbreaking eulogies from those who knew him best.
An emotional day for the city of Rochester and the community at large as thousands turned out to honor the life of Rochester police officer Anthony Mizerkowicz. We heard from a number of friends, colleagues, but most specifically family, who told us more about Officer Mizerkowicz and the kind of person he was, a loving husband, father, and grandfather.
The part that hurts the most for me is that my girls no longer have Papa Tuesdays. They won't have him on the sidelines at their events, or have him to cater to their whining to make buttered noodles when his annual prime rib Christmas dinner was not to their liking. I know he would have made them better people by being in their lives longer, because he certainly made all the rest of us better.
Mizerkowicz's children shared their family stories, stories of high school road trips.
His rule was that we couldn't eat at a chain restaurant or any restaurant that we'd be able to eat at in Rochester.
And those road trips were shared with the extended family, a 6-hour road trip and conversation with his young niece.
She finally declared that he was like a guardian angel, watching over people. And now he's truly an angel in blue, watching over all of us.
My dad has been called a hero by many since being killed on the 21st. But he's always been a hero to my mom, my siblings, and myself. He's always gone above and beyond for not only us and our family, but for all of you in Rochester.
Officer Mizerkowicz was laid to rest yesterday, surrounded by his family and loved ones and members of law enforcement.
For our full coverage of that funeral, you can head to our website at rochesterfirst.com.
And new this morning, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office looking for help locating a missing juvenile. 14-year-old Aiden Cavalier missing from his home in Parma. Aiden is approximately 5'4" and weighs around 120 pounds. He was last seen yesterday around 6 a.m. wearing all black clothing and carrying a backpack. Anyone with information is asked to call 911. And to begin the day yesterday, Lollipop Farm had nearly 2,000 animals in their care, but that number dropped significantly after hosting a massive adoption event. The shelter waiving adoption fees to make sure their animals could find a new home, also serving as an opportunity for them to avoid capacity limits. Staff with Lollipop Farm add that most of the small animals seized from the World of Wildlife educational encounters from earlier this year have been adopted by new homes.
Well, James, good morning for a morning walk.
Yeah.
A little hot out there right now, a little muggy, I should say, not hot, but you know, it's decent.
I think a good way to describe it's a little bit muggy. to kick off this morning. I think it's a great afternoon, though, if you really want to get outside. Enjoy it. We start off in the 70s. Interestingly enough, though, the wind direction out of the northwest, so that's going to bring in some cooler air. So we finish in the 70s. We'll call it cooler, certainly, than the past couple of days, and we'll turn sunny this afternoon. Now, this does not stick around. We surge right back into the warmth as we get into your Wednesday. We'll talk about that and take a peek at the weekend at the end of the show. Allie?
All right, James, thank you. Taking a look at the roads this morning in our sunrise traffic report, we do have an accident in Henrietta on Pinnacle Road, northbound, southbound at Lehigh Station Road. Otherwise, 390, 490, 590 are looking good.
In some national news, President Biden reporting last night that 71-year-old Ayman al-Zawahiri was killed by a U.S. airstrike in Afghanistan over the weekend.
His death signifying that all key plotters in the September 11th attacks are now either dead or captured. In his evening address, President Biden also saying al-Zawahiri also played a key role in the 1998 bombing of the U.S. Embassy in Kenya and Tanzania, as well as the 2000 attack on the USS Colt, killing 17 American soldiers. All this coming a year after U.S. troops withdrew from Afghanistan, ending the two-decade war.
The flooding in Kentucky claiming at least 37 lives, including 4 children. That is according to Kentucky's governor, who also warns that more dangerous weather is approaching the area. Authorities are continuing their work in rescuing residents and providing food and shelter for the thousands who have been displaced. The National Weather Service forecasting several rounds of continued storms and showers through last night, and authorities calling for anyone remaining in eastern Kentucky to seek higher ground ahead of the upcoming storms.
And crews in California battling the biggest blaze of the year. In McKinney, the wildfire beginning Saturday already covers 80 square miles and is being blamed for the death of a couple found in their burned out car. The intense flames assisted by lightning storms exploding across the region. A view from space showing the extent of the damage from the fire, which has burned more than 55,000 acres. One resident calls the blaze, quote, the most amazing, terrifying thing you've seen, end quote. The fire sparking just days after the year's previous largest fire in Yosemite National Park.
And just hours after the fire began on Saturday, photographer Jonathan Rivas was documenting the damage when a puppy ran out of the debris of a burned home. Rivas says that puppy named Patches was about 4 months old and did not appear to have any injuries besides singed fur and whiskers. The owner of the puppy contacted Rivas to thank him for rescuing Patches, sharing they lost a family member and that the property that they had been at for decades, adding that little Patches was all that they have now.
And after 8 months of negotiations that fell apart multiple times, Senator Joe Manchin finally announcing he supports the investments President Biden wants to make. The Inflation Reduction Act aims to invest $400 billion over 10 years in fighting climate change and lowering health care costs. Manchin says he supports the bill because it would pay for itself and reduce the deficit by raising taxes on the richest Americans and corporations. Senator Mitch McConnell, on the other hand, disapproves the bill, saying it will just make the definition worse. Chuck Schumer saying he still plans to call a vote for the package this week. And over the weekend, President Biden testing positive for COVID-19 again. On Monday, he reassured the public that he is doing fine. Doctors calling it a rebound case, something that happens to some patients that use Paxlovid, a drug to treat COVID-19 symptoms.
And some international news now. Brittany Griner making her 7th appearance in Russian court. The 2-time Olympic gold medalist and WNBA star pleaded guilty to drug possession charges at the second hearing of her trial, acknowledging that she had vape canisters containing cannabis oil when she was arrested in February at a Moscow airport. She insisted that she had no criminal intent and the canisters ended up in her luggage accidentally due to hasty packing. The medical testimony and Griner's admission were aimed at earning her a lighter sentence. If convicted, Griner faces up to 10 years in Russian prison for transporting drugs. And here's what some people might be talking about at the water cooler this morning. Deshaun Watson being handed his suspension. The Cleveland Browns will be without their new quarterback for 6 games. Watson serving a 6-game unpaid suspension for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. This comes after 24 accusations of sexual misconduct against him during his time as a Houston Texan. The Bills do play the Browns this season in Week 11, which will be Watson's 4th game back on the field.
Let's check in with James Gilbert now for a look at the forecast today. James, Tuesday's looking pretty good?
I think so, yeah. Temperatures staying in the 70s for today, which is cooler than average, but we jump right back up there near 90 to go 91 for your Wednesday. Both days are dry, just different air masses is what's going to result in that. I'm looking forward to tonight. 50s. Open those windows, get some fresh air in. Just hope the stick bugs don't come in.
Yeah, very true, James. Thank you. And thanks so much for watching Newsdate at Sunrise.
Our next update is coming up in 30 minutes. CBS